I have to start off by saying North Carolina is in my heart. They also took my money. That's where I got my doctorate from, Chapel Hill. So it's always great to speak to a governor of the state that I once lived in. Governor Cooper, I'll start with this. We're going to start in North Carolina. Why do you think it's been so difficult for Democrats to achieve electoral success there at a national level? Obviously, North Carolina's had Democratic governors. North Carolina's had Democratic senators. But why has it been so difficult to win the state when it's presidential election time?
We've been very purple state, and we've been very close every time. In 2020, this was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's closest loss. But I'll tell you, Jason, I have that 2008 feeling like I had when Barack Obama won North Carolina. The enthusiasm is through the roof. We've had 12,000 volunteers, and 9,500 of them have already worked a shift. Things are happening on the ground. We know Kamala Harris is doing well, and people are excited about her campaign, and that's trickling down. But we also have a bottom-up push to elect Josh Stein as governor and our Democratic Council of State and Democratic judges, because Republicans here have nominated the most extreme candidates in the country. Combine that all together, I think you have a winning formula here, because if Kamala Harris wins North Carolina, which I believe she will, she is the next president of the United States. Donald Trump is in panic mode. He's spending a lot of money here on ads. He just came to Asheville today. You mentioned it earlier. When he is here, it is bad for his campaign, because he must win North Carolina in order to be victorious. We believe that we can stop him. We believe that we can win this race for Kamala Harris.
Now, Governor Cooper, I want to mention the gentleman that you said who's running against Josh Stein. Mark Robinson, I have seen so many ads about Mark Robinson. I was recently in Charlotte visiting friends and family. How would the state of North Carolina be affected if somehow a man like that ended up getting into the governor's mansion? Just talk a little bit about what's at stake, not just sort of nationally, but locally in that state. If Mark Robinson, who says some people need killing, who says women need to keep their skirts down when it comes to issues of sexual assault, what would it be like in North Carolina if he were to actually win?
It would be an absolute tragedy. And Republican leaders in this state should be ashamed of themselves for endorsing him. He believes in no abortions for any reason. He has said people need killing. He has committed, I think, some of the most extreme comments that we have heard from any candidate. And what we need to do is to make sure that Josh Stein wins this race. The reason you're seeing the polls open up a little bit here is because people are beginning to learn who Mark Robinson is. He does not respect women at all. So this would be absolute devastation to North Carolina's economy. Look, we're the third fastest growing state in the country. We've been named the best state for business in the top 3 states for business 5 years in a row. Do you think businesses are going to come to North Carolina with a governor who talks like that? Not going to happen. That's why I believe the people of North Carolina are going to come together and vote Democratic, not only for Josh Stein, but I believe there's enough force here to win up and down the ticket and turn this purple state blue.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the top issues across the country, which is immigration. What we've heard from Donald Trump when he's in North Carolina is he's saying he would commandeer local police to remove undocumented people from North Carolina. Now, again, North Carolina has a huge poultry industry, but on top of that, on top of undocumented people who may work in that industry, I know from Research Triangle Park, you have a large number of people who are simply students or researchers, and sometimes their visa expires. They're not trying to be here illegally. They're just caught up in the system. What would the kind of aggressive policy that Trump is calling for, what would that do to North Carolina's economy and families that have tried to settle and make their lives wonderful in that state?
That is dripping with hypocrisy. Donald Trump does not want to solve the immigration problem. We had the strongest bill in a generation. You had a lot of progressives saying this bill goes too far. And Donald Trump submarined it, specifically because he wanted to keep this issue open in order to help him win the campaign. Mm-hmm. For him to say things like that, it is so much hypocrisy all over that. And in fact, he's been president 4 years. He wasn't able to do any of that. He wasn't able to make any progress on the immigration issue. What we need is strong legislation, people coming together in a bipartisan way. And that had been done, but for Donald Trump, who came in and made these senators and members of Congress pull away from a bill that they had promised to support.
Governor Cooper, very quickly before we finish, you were on the short list as a VP pick for now Vice President and candidate Harris. Would you be interested, should she and Walz win in November, would you be interested in joining a Harris-Walz administration in order to do some of the work that you've done in that state and bring it to the entire country?
Well, first, I'm so excited with my friend Tim Walz, a fantastic governor, a great guy. He's just an everyday person who doesn't answer when there's no caller ID. That's the kind of person that Tim Walz is. Look, after my term as governor, I'm going to run through the tape. I'm not on the ballot this time for the first time in many years, but everything I care about is on the ballot. And I'm going to work to make sure Democrats win. After that, I'm still interested in public service. I'll see what opens up at that time.